Thank you,
Okay.
Casper. Appreciate it. Have a good one. All right. Oh, well, Charles, thank you, Charles, for the nice big super chat. Gail McCoy, there is a program called Grammarly that is fantastic for edits. I want to co sign this. I love Grammarly. Grammarly is the best. I don't know what I would do without Grammarly. I think that it's awesome. And I co sign that wholeheartedly. And thank you, Charles, for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it. All right, next up, let me see on our list. We have Jess T. Hi, Jess T. There you are. Good to
Hey,
see you.
I got it figured out, Carlin. I'm so proud of myself. It's all
You
because I've
did.
learned the
What a
internet.
lovely green shirt, too. I like your green. I wish I could wear
Oh,
that color, but I
thank
can't.
you. New York and Company. It's the best. Trust me.
Yes.
I hope you can hear me okay. I do have a fan running in the background, but
Oh, you're good.
I'll be very brief. I just wanted to say that I totally agree with everything you've said and done. I've always been so impressed with your just feminine oomph. You know, you've always got this sort of motherly, like, listen here, child, take on all of the people who don't necessarily know or don't pick up on these things as quick as you do. But I also wanted to say that I think people need to be kind of careful because now that we're aware of this movement coming up, we should be careful not to be too harsh on people who use terms like anti-white. And I know you're aware of this, but this is more for the audience, using terms like anti-white and things because you don't want to ostracize people right away. I've noticed a lot because I pay attention to everybody, and this is why I'm against censorship. You and I are both now porcupines in the libertarian movement.
Yay!
So I figure everyone should just be very, very careful about what terminology and what words they use, but they also need to be gentle about correcting people who don't know as much about critical race theory, especially if they haven't followed Carlin's channel. And that we shouldn't ostracize people so much. Ramsey Paul was called out in the stream by No White Guilt. And he's actually someone who people might immediately assume is white identitarian or white supremacist when he isn't. And I think people need to be careful about people who identified as former alt-right before Richard Spencer and all of the identitarians took over versus no longer alt-right, but they still do care about their own tribe, as it were. And I think that if you study linguistic propaganda and also just linguistics generally, you're going to learn a lot about why people get so tribal. Even if they don't say they have an identity with the group, they can end up having one. And it's just one of those things where you just have to be gentle and talk it out with them and explain it to them. And I just want everyone to be aware of that because I know, Eva, I've even seen this on locals, that a lot of people get very gung-ho because we all love you there. And by the way, everyone, join Carlin's locals because she's the best. Yay! I absolutely love her. And you all will too. She's amazing. And she does so much work for the movement. But just be gentle with people because a lot of people don't necessarily know all of the ins and outs of the situation. So I just don't want everyone jumping on the bandwagon, as it were.
No, I think it's a fair point, and I want people to know too. And I think this is important context that not everyone necessarily. Oh, good, we got a nice troll in the chat right now. Like this is important context. I'm glad you brought up this point because I co-sign this. I don't want people berating people for using the term alt-white, alt anti-white. I don't want that. I do think that people need to understand the context though that I was doing this in that I was being mobbed by thousands of these people and they were showing up in my comments and I was just trying to manage this. And one of the things that was very, very consistent about it is they were all throwing this anti-white thing at me. And so it got to the point where I was like, this is the only way I can identify these people in order to block them. And so that's why I was like, you say this in my stream, you're going to get blocked. And like, if you don't want to get blocked, like don't say it right now because I was just going through block, because there's just too many people. And so what I will say too is if you think that I wrongly blocked you, just send me an email. Just send me an email and say, I think you wrongly blocked me. And, most of the time I will just unblock you. Like, there's not gonna be like a litmus test or anything, but it was just one of those things where it was an extraordinary circumstance and I did the very best that I could to manage it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
understand your
and
point generally, and you're saying more generally to people. And I do agree that now that like the the major trolling seems to have passed, I do agree.
yeah, I don't think you did anything wrong. I just don't. I know how much people can kind of fangirl or fanboy over like influencers or commentators, and I know you don't necessarily think of yourself that way, but you do influence a lot of people. I mean, I'm such a social isolationist. I never really get outside my own community too much, and so you really influenced me. So I can understand how other people might be influenced enough to say, well, whatever Carlin says just is 100% true, or whatever so and so says is 100% true, and people can get very invested in those things. So gently kind of bringing people back into that reality framework of, be careful who you follow, be careful who you listen to, and also overthinking critically, I think, is really important. And thanks to Jaya, by the way, because she was the one who was just like, just go on there, Jess. It's fine. And I was like,
Oh,
well, I don't think I have much to say. I don't have anything profound to say. But at the same time, I was like, I love Jaya. She's always in our Zoom calls. So I was like, I'm gonna take Jaya's word for it. I'll become a part of this. So
Jess, you always have something to say, and I always enjoy hearing what you have to say. Anything else for tonight before we move on?
nope, that's it. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Cool. Yeah, see you on Tuesday, and thank you for the locals plug. Have a good night.
You too.
Oh, thank you. All right, guys, and if you want to join my locals, please kb.locals.com. I think it is down there somewhere. Um, yeah. So if you blocked me for pointing out the rights are pathologically low in group preference, yeah, because that's kind of racist. It's kind of racist. It's a little bit racist. So, and I mean it, guys. If you think that I wrongly blocked you, just reach out to me. Send me an email. Send me. Well, you can't. You probably can't. Send me a DM if I blocked you. But like, I actually like. I've blocked a lot of people, and I've only had like a handful actually reach out to me and say, Carlin, can you just unblock me? And I unblocked them every single time. So I'm not an unreasonable person, but I was dealing with a very unmanageable situation. And I did the best I could, and I'm sorry if you didn't like my tone.